그것도 command 약에 127. We'll start the invocation. Yeah, Genie. Giovanna. Maurizio Come. Okay, roll call.
Julie Blacklatch.
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 Other than Sereno.
Iowa Reno.
Now break off with each other.
Colgate Blackford.
Now to break the coin.
Deep Green, Elfrey.
Wilbur, my feet. Stewart, my feet.
Both girls did it.
Goes ahead, Buck one.
13. 5 absent.
Okay. 13 members present, 5 absent. Let's introduce home. 약에 who introduce home. 약에 나와라 그게 we'll open up the session, then we will go to the review and adoption. It gets forwarded. And the review and adoption of the agenda. If you know what the Secretary Oak or what the market side taking up $10 million when it comes to the adoption of the agenda, we had to adopt $10 million for this because it was in revenue committee issue, and it was inadvertent, wasn't put on the old business. We have to add that to the old business on the agenda. And they are review and approval of the journal. 2013 quarterly session, July 26, 2013 special session, August 13, 2013 special session, September 30, 2013 special session. And because 제일 소비하게 나 그리고 나 감화와 그리고 여기에 the review and adoption of the agenda. We need a motion to adopt the $10 million by Secretary Ocro.
I would advise just to adopt the agenda and then amend it to add the $2 million issue.
Question? Go ahead, Senator Stewart.
So with that advice, we wanna go with, adopting the agenda and also with the same motion, asking for amendment.
Go ahead, Secretary.
I would advise just to adopt the agenda now, and then another motion to amend the agenda to add the $10 million loan issue.
Okay. At this time, we'll make that motion to adopt the agenda. Speaker.
Okay, motion is made by Senator Stewart of Ragland, second by Senator Carlos Velasquez, question by Senator Coyote Runs. All those in favor of adopting the agenda, raise your right hand. Okay, it's unanimous. So it's 15-0-0, adopting the agenda. Oh yeah, before I forget, Senator Shane had a legal conference today at 1 o'clock with his attorney. Josh has run off, got over the phone, so he said he won't be able to be here today. So he's gonna take care of that at 1 o'clock. Maybe sometime, quickly enough, on his, what he's going through, and I'll get, me and Jay and Secretary Oak will have to discuss that among ourselves, what to do. So, when the time comes on the 22nd, October 22nd, we'll look, some of the things the decisions that we have to make, but we have to look at the Constitution, the policy, and so forth. But we already have a pretty good answer how to go about that direction that I was going to look. But he will. So if you guys got any questions, probably at another time, we all through. So there's a decision that we have to make on that behalf. So I shared that a little bit with him this morning. And Cody, I'll get. Well, if you're like, they have rules and orders follow the Gale Constitution, there are things that memorize off the top of your head. It's already written in there. And you guys, I get it, so that we already have an idea of what to do, like what we use will come. Okay, we'll go to the review and approve the journal. Review and approve the journal. Secretary Ocro.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the body. I make a motion to move review and adoption of the journals, July 2013 quarterly session, July 26, 2013 special session, August 13, 2013 special session, September 30th, 2013 special session, to the end of the agenda. We're not quite done with it. We'll be done with it here in a day or so, and once we're done, we'll leave it on your desks for your review, and at that time, you can adopt it. Thank you.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor by Secretary Ocro, seconded by Senator Notifrate Lodgegrass. Any question? Question by Senator Notifrate of Bighorn. All those in favor of moving review and approval of the journals to the end of the agenda, raise your right hand. Okay, it's unanimous, 14-0-0. You. Okay, let me. This. Okay, and I'm on, legislative branch will receive, reports for that speaker and secretary of the house. Did you go on now?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I don't have anything written, like I wanted, but, I just wanted to report that there was a few, committee meetings, especially with revenue and natural resources in regards to the loan, and then with, the track one issues, and then with, some of the Cloud Peak, or not the Cloud Peak, but the, issues in regards to the coal with, exporting and that. You know, Speaker and Natural Resources Chair Stewart and Bighorn Representative Crooked Arm went to Coeur d'Alene. But in the meantime, we did have some special session for the journals that I talked about earlier, moving into the end of the session, was the one in July 26th. That one will discuss the legislative business that we had discussed in regards to travel. That was an in-house special session, I guess. There wasn't any outside issues, but it was more internal. And then on August 13th was the issue on the loan, but the speaker at that time, Mr. Chang, used Rule 13E, and that was one of the reasons for my oversight and myself and staff was using Rule 13E. It wasn't put on the floor for adoption, but it was automatically sent to the next quarterly session or special session. And that's why we had that oversight. We forgot to put it onto the agenda. So that was the reason for that. At that time, on August 13th, we did confirm the CEO on the floor. He wasn't present at the time, so we didn't have to swear in until last week. And we talked about updating the travel policy again and having it in ethics committee. Then we went on to last week when we had that special session in September 30th for the track one bonus on the amendment to the 2013 amendment, 2013 budget. And then we recessed until Thursday, as you know, and we adopted the 2014 budget. Like I said, there was a few committees meeting, especially with personnel. She worked hard on that, and Ms. Pretty Payne, and got that done. I don't know if she'll be ready with an LR on that this session or not. It's not really a special session, but she'll probably give that in her report. And I know some of the other committees have met here and there, but nothing extensively. That's all I have for today. Thank you.
Again, that's the speaker, start with it's been a blur. And one of the things that we need to readjust is having staff meetings. Staff meetings, but on Mondays, guys, we get work all but we have to reorganize the Makawee. There was a really lack of communication. Staff, so we have to really get buckled down on the daily duties here in the legislative branch. And I get out of top data, there was a lot of things that are lacking. You and I don't know about it, but some of the staff members that needed support by the Speaker of the House as well as the Secretary. And I know that there's a dilemma that the former Speaker is going through at that time. It was a Wednesday meeting. Just going back to when I became the Speaker of the House. I never had no thought intentions of being the Speaker, but it happened so quick Wednesday. You knew all along in ethics. So that ethics was pertaining to Senator Olden. And by the end of the day, that was that court hearing that the former Speaker had to do his court hearing. Anyways, he ended up here somehow I thought it was gonna take a little more time, but he was here, and so there's a decision that had to be made expediently. And so from there, we called a special session, I believe for the ethics committee, the members that were present, I think there was about 9 of us, we asked the speaker to, resign at that time. So, but a special session was called, and at the end of the special session, that was the speaker of the house. It happened that fast. He stayed, he felt. And so then started to reorganize with the staff meeting, and the staff had really informed me what was lacking, things that needed to get straightened out within our branch. And everything was pretty loose. That's why we couldn't have, even in the special sessions, it was hard to have a quorum. And we really had to run a tight ship. And the goal, that's what I've been, you've heard me time and time again, that we've got to run a tighter ship because we are professionals. And then I said I would raise up that standard for each and every senator to be a senator, because you guys are leaders. And you, so from then till now, it's a lot better. So, I commend you for showing up, those meetings, regardless of what you're busy with other things, you set it aside and then come to the meetings. And I commend you for that. And there's 12 of you that are, re-elections coming. I know that's another different story. That's another different scenario where it's pretty tough during this time. And so, I hope that you guys all make it back again. You, the outgoing senator would be Senator Tulane from the Black Ops District. So, that's another thing. And then there's another senator that's running for the judicial, which is Senator Nonafraid of Mossgrass. So, it just kind of reminds me back when that one year all we had was just elections after elections after elections. For one whole year we didn't do nothing. We didn't do nothing. No laws. We had meetings. But for one year from the previous administration, when the late chairman passed away, man, we just had meetings after meetings. And I believe that at that time, the Secretary Russell at that time, the executive branch, he said there was there was no budget for the elections. I think we spent about $115,000 to $118,000 on just that election the whole year for the judges, for the election judges rather. And so I kind of know that elections after elections, again, and I know that the primaries are this coming Saturday. You want to that you go to the next round. And one of the things that I've always said that, maybe there's a better word, if there is, but this seat, you've got to make a lot of decisions. But I already watched the chief. It's really a busy position. And I said, I'm not in it for a popularity contest. I'm not here to scratch your back, but I'm here to make sure that your business, our business, the branch's business gets done the way it's supposed to be. Because you guys are professionals. That's exactly what it is. This is a business, and it's to think and make and draft and create laws on behalf of the legislative branch. I heard some of the other candidates, promising jobs and promising this and that. You're not in that position. You're a lawmaker. You're a lawmaker. Unless the executive branch comes in here, sits down with the respective committee, and then they say, this is what we want to do with economic development. And then that's when we become part of that planning. You don't have no business trying to create jobs, you're a lawmaker. It's a whole different ballgame. And I've heard different ones say that they promise this one, I'm gonna do this one, I'm gonna do this one. I've heard that. And I know you guys heard that too. Campaign, little gift with it. But you're a lawmaker. You're here. Like I said, the negotiator, the administrator, that word is very strong, administering the funds that they can negotiate economic development on behalf of the Crow tribe, on their resources, on their assets, minerals, whatever. When they come in here, this is what we're going to do. You have the power, this branch of limited waiver of sovereign immunity. And you get it good. So I know that some of them, and I've heard, and some of them have asked me, the constituents, they're promising jobs. But so anyways, and it's about lawmaking. And you apply yourself, you could go through that, and so, again, one of the things that, is, I've asked for your permission to use the truck, and I'll speak a little bit about that. I got one of the windows tinted, I got the oil changed on it, during that snow, the muffler came out, it was spot welded, so I got it welded, but they welded for me for free. The guy said somebody did a poor job spot welding, and it's all inside the night muffler, and the guy just lifted it up, said it just slipped back, there's nothing broken, he just spot welded, put a bead around it underneath it, and and then we changed the tires on both Suburban and the as well as the truck, and we put 10-inch 10-ply tires on both of them. They went to the oil spill on 4-ply tires, and they had a flat tire. You guys better have 10-ply tires when you come to dryer. And then that retreat, Corredios, that was a good retreat for those of you that attended it. It was a good retreat because, it was actually a report made by it was on a Thursday, Wednesday and a Thursday, you get it? Call it that. And, the executive branch asked us to be a part of that. So on that Wednesday, what they did was all the cabinet heads, the departments, the cabinet head departments, showed up like natural resources, the health and human, and the chairman, as well as the CPAs, they were in the cabin, so the cabinet heads were taken to the cabin, and the rest of us were in that lunchroom. Then they went over their budgets with them for the coming year, for 2013. And then the other cabinet heads was sharing their needs and sharing what they're doing in their respective departments. So that was Wednesday. That's what we did all day that Wednesday. And then on Thursday, the chairman and the CPA took the legislators that were present there and then went over the budget. Could I get a truth that Thursday in that Black Canyon. They, for everybody's information, for those of you that don't know what's going on in Black Canyon, they have velocity systems. Velocity systems. This guy named is Ron Mott. Ron Mott is the one that's training special forces in the Black Canyon. And the men from the military, they are the special forces that they're training. They're training in the Black Canyon because they need to jump off helicopters as well as like big planes. But they have to jump off those planes, and usually where their training usually was at flat ground where they were jumping off those planes or the helicopters. But the training, the Afghan mountains are just like the bighorns here. So as they're training, this is right into combat zones after they're jumping off. And so then they have target places to shoot targets and all that. And we saw some of that when me and Kenny went and got some Bitterroot there in the Black Canyon at noontime. And we saw where they had all their target where they did target practice on the side of the hill and in the valley by the road. And so they're utilizing that place, but in exchange of that, they're fixing up the cabins. And cabins, they had, the bathroom runs, the showers work, the toilets work, then the kitchen, they got it all cleaned up whole week. And so they did a real good job over there. But they're gonna be there, I believe, they have a contract, and it was the Natural Resources that did all this contracting with them. They brought them in, I believe, Calvin Herrera, and I'm sure those that helped him. And so they're gonna be there the next 4 years, but some of their, what they're gonna be doing is that they're gonna be fixing some of the cabins out of our own logs. They're gonna teach Crow tribal members how to build logs. And they're gonna be the ones to build those logs. There at the checkpoint there, when you get to the Black Canyon, they're gonna build a cabin there next year. And then they're gonna do all the other hunting cabins. They're gonna teach you they're gonna build those. So they're gonna be there for the next couple of years, about 4-year contract. And according to what Calvin Herrera told me on the site, was that they're gonna be bringing in next year about 1.4 million. Is what I heard. If I'm not mistaken, about 1.4 million to that place to improve it. And so the whole idea is this. They're going to use that as a 30-day dry out place for the youth. Not the adults, but for the youth. And they're going to use that for our youth. We still can change their lives for the youth. It's going to be a 30-day dry out. And from there, the 30-day dry out, the Arrow Creek Ranch that we just purchased, they're going to use that for a working ranch. After that place, they're going to be sending them to when they choose to, dry out and go to the working ranch. But they're working on getting grants for the youth, for the Black Canyon, as well as the Arrow Creek Ranch. But they're going to be running buffalo. So that's what they're working on that I've got. And these men that are trained, they're training special forces. They've been in the military, but they are businessmen. They have a pretty good, well-qualified credentials. They had a PowerPoint presentation that they gave out, and they do a lot of work of helping people. But they're going to train our bison rangers, or the natural resources. Our district rangers, they're going to be training them on hostage crisis, showing them how to, be tactical about it and everything. So that's some of the trainings that they're going to be bringing to the Crow tribe for our game wardens. And and then they would be qualified to carry, the weapons jeopardized. So, it's a pretty good deal, so they had a real short presentation because of time, limited time. And and that was good. And then if you come to the budget, we had a press release, and I know some of you guys got the on the budget, this year's budget press release will be in the Bighorn County News. And then it's been sent out to the guys sent it to everybody. So Jay did a good job on explaining the 32 million. And the cash liabilities that was incurred by the previous administration. We are in the hole. Any new revenues that are coming in, I'm just kind of being repetitive, repeating it, but I just want that to sink in. And so it would have been nice if we could have used that 3 million for something else, to give it out to the districts, give them more money, or to the per capita, but we can't. It goes to paying bills. And it's just disappeared. Like some of the CPA said that this money is just disappearing into the black hole. It's just being absorbed by expenditures, debt of ex-values for the trade. The update of what type, 12 million without the expenses that was incurred previously, some of the decisions that we made. And you, come on below, right? Well, I don't know, it might take about 3 years. We're still going to be in the red next year, according to their predictions. So we got to run a tighter ship, regardless. And you know, I talked to some of the 638 people on that, the executive side. Some of the things that they got the money for the 638 for its intentions, but they use it to salaries and other things, and they never use that 638 funding for its purpose. They use it for other purposes. And COE, the government is asking, pay us back. Now, what is, new idea with gifts, some of it has been forgiven to a certain point because they negotiated. And you to this, no idea. Just like Leroy said, he's been in there for about 25 years. I'm about the same, but I heard it all my life. And I look tired, he wasn't there. I've been in it all, just heard it all my life. Into the ground hall, you lucky shoot cutter. We've seen those walking through the lines. He just outside you, man. Stick to that. Hey, manual, shoot cutter case to get my father. Politics, man, politics. And Malakadal, but jail, you know, politics to that. And Koyu teacher, help the people. So with that, I'm going to end with that. So I'll get reports for the. We'll start with the judicial. The chair is Senator Maldonado, the big one. Secretary is Leroy Naughty.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Secretary, honorable colleagues of the legislature. I don't recall which date it was, but there was an emergency meeting called for by the judicial and executive concerning the Crow Bar exam. That was, I believe, in mid-August. Correct me if I'm wrong, Senator, not agree. Anyway, I was out in the field in an emergency, so I delegated the secretary of the judicial, Senator not agree to go ahead and call the meeting to order, which he did. And at that time, the Crow Bar exam is administered twice yearly, the second week of January and the second week in July. Because of the vacancy of the appellate judge that occurred in February 2011, there was no appellate judge to give the bar exam, cover testing and correction. At that time, it was announced that the Crow Tribal Court did not adhere to the Crow Law and Order Code when they administered the Crow Bar examination on August 12, 2013. It was administered by a non-authorized official as the appellate judge was vacant, which leads question and the legal authority was to grade the bar exam. So the executive, judicial, and the legislative branch on August 12th have come up with a memorandum of agreement and allow the bar exam to move forward with the help of Senator Naughty at that time of Lodge West. And anyway, after the MOA there was water contamination. A water exam test was given and opened the door for the upcoming judicial judge nominees, or not nominees, but what's up? Judges today that was going to run for the election at, anyway, and that occurred on September 2nd. We had a committee meeting held here for an appellate judge nominee confirmation, Ms. Heather Corson. Committee by consensus with an 8-0 vote, committee had voted to move forward with confirmation of the appellate judge. And last week, during special session, the appellate judge was brought on the floor and the body voted unanimously to confirm this person as appellate judge. So we'll have to report to today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield my time to the Senator of Lobsters. I'd like if he has anything to say.
Okay, I'll recognize Senator Lobster.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Secretary, and members of the body. I concur with the report by Judicial Chair Marlon Nodifred from the Bighorn District. Very good job. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Natural Resources. Chair is Senator Stewart and Secretary Senator Hopes.
I want to just kind of get into the issue at hand right now with this. We brought it out earlier, and I know Dick did a pretty good job about explaining this concerning the meeting with AT&I. And right now, we're getting things situated for NCAI, and that's going to be another tour that we've got to keep going on. But as far as the legislation that is sitting in committee, we've never had meetings concerning this. The one is the acquisition. We had a meeting, but everything was to be put in committee. So everything's sitting in committee as old business, and the other one I believe is the acquisition and disposal ordinance and trust acquisitions of profile free lands. Those are going to be in committee, and right now as we speak there's nothing going on with them. I've asked about them to the executive branch, and it don't sound like they're too enthused about moving forward with that just yet. But just to explain a little bit more, we went to the Coeur d'Alene. We went up there to support the executive branch, and we went ahead and at that time we came, we kind of went in under fire with a lot of these other tribes, and their concern is that they don't want anyone to disturb their treaty hunting and fishing areas. And so they explained to us exactly what was going on there. And, to make a long story short, every day it was a battle for us. Every day I got up to speak and looking at solutions to bring to the table. I told them I'd bring a resolution and I'd bring presentation. And I did everything that I said I was going to do. And yet we came against a lot of opposition. But when it came down to it, a lot of the tribes honored what we brought to the table, and the affiliate tribes of Northwest unanimously passed a resolution, and I did forward that to Jackie again. And if you guys did want to see any of that, those resolutions, I believe she might have printed them out and gave them out the signed versions. There was another document that I did give to her, and was the document that in that resolution that AT&I was going to be presenting a resolution to NCAI on our behalf, and that was to support the Crow tribe for the Coda Liquids pilot program. So in this effort, we'd be getting the total support from AT&I, the affiliated Northwest tribes, where traditionally they're against coal, but yet they're supporting us on our coal development pilot program for coal biomass to liquids. And they're also presenting a resolution on our behalf to NCAI this next week, from the 13th to the 18th. President Fawn Sharp of AT&I will be presenting this resolution to NCAI, and they're going to be asking for support, and we're going to be there on top of that, pushing that resolution through. So this is big, we'll be getting the support from NCAI as well as AT&I. So all of basically pretty much the majority of Indian country will be supporting the Crow tribe in these resolutions. So the big one that we had to get was the AT&I resolution. And so that way it puts a lot of peace of mind in the other tribes, because of the ongoing objection to the terminals and coal trains and coal development. But there was a lot of educating and explanation that we had to give, and we just had to stand our ground and let them know that we were serious. And overall, it was very fruitful that staying there that whole week, because we did come out with a resolution that had from AT&I that had full support on the floor from the 66 tribes of the affiliate Northwest. So with that being said, I'll be going to NCAI in Tulsa, flying out on 13th, I believe. Gerald Stewart from the Wyola District, Mighty Few, and then Pat Alden from the Bighorn District are going to be attending that conference with me. And it's, I guess there was other things going on at the AT&I. There was all these other meetings, but we were in the natural resources. And every day we stayed in that one room. To make sure we got things explained to where they understood where we were coming from, that we weren't trying to, obliterate any of their treaty rights or their fishing areas or grave sites. We got to meet with Jay Julius. He's a councilman. He's very active and vocal in this area. We got to meet with Smithkin, Chairman Smithkin from the Yakima, and Chairman Whitman, Silas Whitman from the Nez Perce, and different individuals that played a big part in these areas. And I commend Speaker Bozhead and Senator Crooked Arm for being there, standing with me during that time. We did a lot of prayer, and we prayed, and we went forward, and things came about. So I hope for being there. And again, we're going to need your prayers on this next round. If we get this right now, when we came back from Coeur d'Alene, that following Monday, when we got back, Obama had presented new EPA regulations stating that any new power plants have to meet an EPA standard. that doesn't go against any of the existing power plants, but any new power plants that are to be built has to meet an EPA standard. So that kind of gives you an idea of this administration. First, they say they don't want power plants and they want them to sunset out. But then now they're saying any new power plants that are going to be built have to meet an EPA standard. And the report that we've been getting from our technical people, and we still haven't received the toxicity report for that government funds. And of course, there's a shutdown, so, I think that's going to be on hold for a while. But that report there, the Air Force is waiting for that. And so, with that being said, that's the route we're going. And I believe that this is blessing in disguise, that right now the EPA regulations, this technology that the Crow Tribe is venturing into, we're going to be meeting that. We're going to be under it. So it's going to be a good thing for us. And to get the support from the tribes, there's 566 federally recognized tribes out there, and we're going to be able to get the support from not only the big one was APNI, but now we'll be getting a resolution passed for NCAI that will be Indian policy to DC on our behalf. So that's a big thing that we're going after. And hopefully, I'll be flying back Thursday if we're still in session. Regardless, I'll be making a report, periodically as time would allow when I'm over there, to the speaker, secretary, and members, to that way you'll know our progress. So hopefully by that Friday, we'll have a resolution in that effect for us. I hope.
Thank you, Kodige Girage, and you're welcome. It was a good experience going over there and in front of all those people. I didn't make it to that, but it's really interesting. AT&I, where resolutions, same thing, but with more leaders. More leaders from what was that about? 84 tribes, wasn't it? Altogether? Or no, 74, wasn't it 74 tribes? Yeah, they told us, remember, 58, but it's actually about 64 tribes. But that was a good experience. They do the same Robert Rules and Order. They have the chairmen. They have all these different ones speaking on resolutions, natural resources, culture, and so it was a good experience. And thank you for that report. They'll be gone. Saturday. They'll be coming back Thursday. Get to come out for lunch. Saturday to Thursday. You'll get next week. So there's going to be about 15 senators that are staying behind, so I'm counting on all these 15 senators to get business done. So I want to just we'll update you on what the plan is. Okay, the next one is personnel. Senator Jeannie Pritchett Payne, and the secretary is Senator Tou Liggins of Black Lodge. You have the floor.
Okay, we were working on the CEO back in July, and we finally confirmed Luke Enemy Hunter with the recommendation of the chairman, and swore him in last week. And then right after Crow Fair, we started working on the personnel policies. We met every week, and we finally got through it last week. And Thursday we're having a committee meeting, and then we'll probably present the LR the following week. That's it.
Anything to add, Senator Tou Liggins?
That's pretty much it. She said everything in a nutshell.
She said everything all in a nutshell, huh?
Get down to business.
I'm glad she can talk. Okay, we'll go to the next. I'll skip me. I'll go to the surface land. which I relinquished that position to Senator Other Medicine from the Reno District, and the Secretary is CJ Story.
Thank you, Speaker and Secretary Body and listeners. On this one here, it was assigned to me, I believe it was in August, the 23rd. I think it was a Friday. And since then, we've been trying to meet, but we've been so busy with the other sessions, we haven't had a chance to at the steering committee, and I think the Secretary, T.J. Stewart and I are trying to get it going with meetings.
I believe that was the land use ordinance, amendments to the land use ordinance. And that was brought over by Secretary Notfrey from the executive branch to amend the land service ordinance.
Yes.
So we were working on that, and like you said, yes, it's been pretty busy with the budget actually, and the other committees. And so, okay, we'll move on to transportation. And the transportation chair is Senator Two-Lakin, secretary is Senator Pretty.
Hello, Speaker, Secretary, members of the body. The only thing that we have pertaining to transportation is that long range. And me and Senator Pretty Paint went to Minneapolis to get the changes. And so we did that, and we went with the transportation department at that time. So we do have the updates that need to be done to that piece of legislation. It is in committee. And we had planned to meet last Thursday, and we scheduled it 2 weeks in advance prior to that to have a committee meeting, and they were gonna come over, and they were gonna invite the public over, and then if you have to get some sort of public input, and they wanted to have it here because we have this set up. And we had that planned out. Then that's when the budget came, and then we didn't get together to try and set up another date, because that was my committee meeting to meet on that legislation to get it passed in this quarterly session. So I'm trying to figure out what to do, contacting the transportation department, because that was the only open day they had, because right now they're closing their projects for the year end before winter comes. So, and I'm trying to, and that legislation needed to be passed by this session, because of the changes. It required it that it had to be passed by the at least by the end of this reporting period in 2013. And that's why I had it, so I got, the budget kind of threw us off, and so I'm trying to figure out what to do. I've been trying to contact them, the transportation department, and they're so busy out on the field. So see if they have any time to come at least and meet on a piece of legislation, because we do need that long range road plan. And there was a lot of changes to it. It's because the amount of roads that we have here on the reservation, we get funding from the Department of Transportation with that, and they're going to take off the roads of the mountains for maintenance, because we receive funds to maintain the maintenance on the road to all the way from youth camp to Buffalo Pasture. And what we found out was that the money that we received for that length of road, there was a lot of money appropriated to gravel to fix that road all the way to Buffalo Pasture, the gate. That was never done in the past 2 to 3 years, and then that money was taken and used under frenzy on the last administration. So what transportation is going to do is they're going to take the mountains off the grid. So we don't receive those funds, because they said the money is falling into the wrong hands. And I said, well, it has to come from you guys, the executive, and they have tried to work with the executive to try to get this passed. And I don't know what it is, but none of the executive attorneys want to pick up this transportation bill and help amend it and update it. I don't know what the deal is. They've been trying on their end, and the director doesn't want to do anything. To tell you the truth, the director does not know what he's doing, and I've recommended to the executive officials that they replace and put someone there that knows what they're doing, who knows MAP 21, who knows what's on the grid, and who knows what funding we're receiving as a tribe to make sure that we do repair the roads that we have on the reservation. Those were the updates that we had, and I basically gotta say that the executive branch needs to come up to speed with that, and the staff at the transportation department are the only ones trying to get things moving, but they can't get any further because their superiors are trying to move along with it. And on my end, I've been going over pressuring, because the transportation has been transferred from the vice secretary to the vice chairman. And the vice chairman is more, focused on that rest area that's gonna be planned by the, is it National Park Service? Yeah. And so, but this has been in the committee for a long time, and I've been trying to get it passed. And I'm trying to make it one of my exit goals to get this long-range plan out of the way, because they do need it to get the TTP funds. And so, it's basically, we just need cooperation from the executive branch, and when they're ready, once we get it passed, then the department, our transportation department, can take it to OST, and they can start with doing a drawdown to repair the roads, because they're registering roads on the reservation that we're receiving funding and they're not getting repaired. So that's what the updates are all about. But that's what's basically going on in transportation. So whenever they get back to me, I hope I can try and meet with them within the time of this quarterly session to get it passed. But if we don't, then we might have to have a special session sometime after October. And my exit date for the branch is November 30th. So I kind of have a small window there. So that's what's pretty much going on in transportation. Thank you.
Okay, anything from the secretary for the paint?
No, concur with all that.
Okay, that was a good report, a good update. And so what you're saying, for clarification, the transportation needs to update their request for the 638 funds on the roads, but you need a committee meeting during this October session. So can that be done this week sometime? Because I know that we can, this week we're supposed to have committee meetings and try to get some of this work done and bring it on the floor. I don't know if you can expedite that and have one work on that. Tomorrow, I think Wednesday, but if you want to look at the schedule for this week, and maybe try to work something out by Friday.
Yeah, I think we'll try sometime at least this week, but it depends on that. Because right now they're out there on the field trying to finish projects before the snow hits. So it gets cold.
It already hit.
Yeah. So if it's not next week, I don't know. So we'll have to figure it out with them, because we were working around their schedule. That's when we were supposed to have it last Thursday, and the budget came. But Friday would be good, but that's homecoming for Hardin, and then a lot of the kids are, in Hardin, they parade, and a lot of families go over there, and so I don't know if that would be a good time for everyone. And but we'll make a phone call here, and so we'll let you know at least by the end of the day if we pick the date what's best for them.
Okay, but that'll be good. If we can do it, make it, if it's good, but if not, okay, we'll move on. Okay, treaty and culture, Senator covers up, and then the secretary is Lawrence Beekman.
Holy Speaker, Secretary, Body, that treaty and culture, na culture walang sigurado ka na racing doctorate ka na juniors grade na trying to have meetings at Lagamay Ligi with Kuya call it up. there's a lot of things that, racing, especially there's a lot of things, policy and standards that I did get for this. For that, what they're trying to do, actually, the board, should I just say that they're going to in bylaws, they do it. For that, it can, be illegal, my still there, want a meeting this week sometime. And for that, you could just tweet, but ain't a lot of you could, and that, cultural, if that I just do it, and that, I wasn't putting that, cultural sites that I just, for me, you could have. For that, come a watch July last year, July edition, one of those, we were money problem, and for that, get for this, oh, we decided, and in my ways, reading what I thought you read, and for that, you could have stood it, my she had, then cultural sites, great, Eastboro, Arishi, do again, Jordan, Westmoreland, Bao did be you could I distributed who had you would even like him that Cultural Resource Protection Act came told him that by law we have to claim them to make them identity beirus equity and court rights and then bomb calling technology will put that inside victim. But the insights today is that kind of an important factor. Who could it was still being negated. You could it aware the idea of go and for the idea of money was about you could for the value could it and on your for the the claim looked like the end say but to be told my good correct for the then mark you budget to you for the base for still ma sabe por que vi vuole sentare scherzo mai io credo che io ma ho cercato più che video è che non c'è per i vari lati giocano corre ma si è ma le da vi per go corre di cui per i suoi ragazzi due vai lì due ma ne so Cultural Resource Protection Act. For that, the comment today, what today, they say why you put that pro board of horse racing to monitor and do for the rules and regulations finished to cut you already much. For that again, for sure get my key, they have taken my deed change. If my was get the Great Falls. Gotta go get guns, get it, forget it, but and easy that you could rally to this, and you take go outside the gift for Joe Mike, and put it in the board, pay your gift for this, buy a set, in Oklahoma, try to horse racing, always and gift for it, and books all again, buy all, they used to got it, will take out of touch with pretty wide eyed to you could distribute too many your idea, they are here Great Falls, too many policy, they do get for the shoulder. And my here, how we like there's a lot of standards that we have to meet. So that I did get for this, my heart Michigan, so that you will all finish like this. And board for they take the capacity with too many wide issues. And by all, so that is you for this good for I do. Then, Mark's phone, put it, the ethics will, again, people raise the school ethics, Maori group with, my teacher, used to this. I chair my youth by him. They go that, the creating culture will reach, I did not call it look at, but that's why you do for them. For changing to the arbor, and we go to Laura Purdue, so covers it. Cold, and then, AML director, really looking in Laura, finance clerk, really looking at Sylvan. And do we have to, they just want give a heads up that they want us to contact our constituents that they're gonna tear up the harbor. Knoxville to approve, we're gonna give them a time to collect the data to send it to the executive. And put out the flag in Knoxville to the police station. The Ron Hall, what they decided, they tore it apart and put it at a historical site dedicated to the flag. We need you for the Kurdistan for a community village, basically to get a response from the public, the poor people to get an idea of what they want. If it is good idea to go, the Mawala Dialgo or Majurukin, copies for the posts to do to cut going like the address now I can get it by you. So today they're looking for grants and cohort you could actually put a crisis that call out you could get ahead grants for the you could yes they were China you couldn't you could can Mahadi you can go you can George could I said Mahadi got Nomiji might see you could take him. We put a lot of power grounds for that. And you will have to say, we need your help here. Because we're going to go to contact you this year. So, as it's quick, Maula, the next speaker today, you could actually get Mawa guys to you for the student, but they told you. For the Liu Kudish, you will not do, but I should take a rich by special session you had. The Bahiladium Canusa, he were to pick again, speak to believe in what I did, if I did that. Or to get tough position to be in, but if it is your position for them here, you Kudish, that decision for me was the Aquavi and ask for the bill can. But shit, I gave it to much and that attorneys in courts through language is always gifted as a true big eye stout and for the gifted is available you do money why you cut time you could have you could have stated what would you relate in that my collective explain goodbye and could understand could they want they can mark the reading from doctor you could have to them. For the attorneys and their agreement to what they want to do in courts today, except for Jake, it took Amariwaka to Kayu condition. For the spring hit by the Huka and Rukay with him. For the election David alienated by him. That was understandable to them. And for that, you condition. The fact of my Guma Hulai 3, I started you. Then why did you look at the guy to ask how I you? For the you could you could as it's sort of going a policy ethics balls like you right to I did secretary there from you, but I do. That important, but in the ethics to that. They're trying to prove to yourself that you're the bond with the Polish agility, the Innovista. You Polish, but look to get over that. They deal with the technical in the fact that she wall. They can never have that guy to us. And that big road, see that from bombings. You British political. That's another area for them to straighten out. And we go to them, go in your group and go to you, as it's always that it's a real much. Baba got a stop. We are whatever the squat to Baba goes. They ordered the podcast 107. They do what Palahat and that, but it's for the Chedi. Like what it is, Chedi. Maduahan, who understand, but that's, Shua legislatures be 18, but I hear not say, 18 British media for 21, short, season. Kaya nakakita na 18 people po sa speed. Kaya British national was elected executive British Cargo. Kaya kaya Bahul when British bill law British bill. At wala iya Senate at hired the British deal General Council. Did she decided on Kota Shilao. Understand, but that's important. For that, straighten out for this deal, Kwamare do a deal with that. On the west side, you for this, you need much, right? And now, you for this, for the Kamaha dealers, for the Neolish Christians, they still come to be going to still for. Where can that to the career for the so cargo to buy? The area so to come up for by the cool, being cargo. If the nation was a tradition, we are not sure after Amaleka big. And you could rent a car center for the video. For that is to have for the regulation and for the view for the ethics. Very important, but it acknowledged that we just ordered the same from past administration, from the previous administration, all the way back. History tells itself. But if you put ideas in that, after that, we have to look at ourselves and straighten ourselves out for the goal. And the purpose to take and acquiring we look at the way they look at the quality of the way that help. What I did here for this, trying to present that, trying to proceed, take the steps to be ethical people. Say, go do one way, lay high. What I did here for this important, but I like going to Mount TV, net feeding culture. Go to Lawrence. Lawrence. Aho!
Hey, Senator Notifred wants to make some comments also.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the body. The Senator covers a Bahego Pai. I cannot stress enough. Ethical rules for this branch is very important. Mr. Speaker, September 19th, 2005 was the date of my hearing in this branch office within these chambers. When the branch ordered me to go to a treatment facility and said, "Hey, little brother, get clean and sober." And Kotalish, a whole lot. Because this branch held me accountable September 19th, 2013, Biwa to 8 years there, clean and sober. Always a base, our speaker. I remember on the floor, I tried to negotiate my way out of going to treatment at a later date, if you remember that. And the branch said no, and they said hell no. And they said you need to get to that facility as quickly as possible, and I didn't know that the branch was saving my life at the time. And indeed, this branch did. And those rules are important because it is our responsibility to clean inside our house, straighten ourselves out before we try to dictate to any other organization. I just wanted to add that. I wanted to thank the words of Senator Covers of Itchigat, and I'm in support of ethical rules. Thank you.
Again, another big question is that if we start legislating ethical policy rules, polish the done, who would who would be in favor of that? Myself, I would do it in a heartbeat as a co-rules, because Bono got, and the ethical rules. So maybe, with that, Legal J, we need to work on that. We've always said that either make an LR or get the 10% signatures and make it law. For our branch to start with. Because if we throw in the executive branch, that's gonna be a different ballgame as well there too. I know it's gonna be a whole different about ethics. Because I know that in your constitution it says the qualifications, one of them, the age is 25. But my opinion is that we need a constitutional initiative. I've seen some of them can handle this job at a young age. I've seen it too many times. Maybe about 30, maybe about 35, somewhere around there. But that's debate. And because life experience gives you experience. Without any life experience, you still got too many wild oats in your system and you need to get it out of you. But I was there, and I remember that quite well with Senator Notifree. When he even brought his lawyer in. We asked his lawyer to step outside. We're going to speak with the elected officer. It doesn't have nothing to do with the lawyer. We had to let him, and then every one of us senators at that time, we said our opinion. We want to help you. We don't want to get rid of you. We want to help you. Get your life straightened out. And so he did. And so, this is, whatever you do reflects on me, and whatever I do reflects on you. That's why the absenteeism is really, you guys gotta show up. And, I don't want to get into that, but okay, saying all that, we'll go to the Veterans Affairs. Senator Stewart is the chair, and secretary is Senator Kribadon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Secretary, Legislative Body. I just talked to Paul Littlike during a lunch break. He informed me that the veteran stand-down that was scheduled for October 25th and 26th has been postponed till November 21st and 22nd for the government shutdown. Veterans Day, November 11th, he said they'll be having a run, a veterans run, and I think everybody's welcome to join that. And we'll be having a dinner for all the Crow veterans during Crow. Also at Golden Corral, Southern and Western Emporium, Alcatraz, they'll be having free dinners for all the veterans. The Plaza Warrior Apartment scheduled for groundbreaking in February, and construction should start in March. Me and Canute were asked to sign a letter of support last week for veterans housing, so we did that.
Yeah.
Speaker too. The new park, as you all know, last week was renamed Cold Conquers Park. And the pipe was torn, I believe, fixing that. I talked to Paul, and he was talking in Black Panther. Veterans Court here at the Cold Court. Talked to Canute about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We're going to wait until after the general election. We'll be electing a new chief judge and an associate judge. That's all I got. I hope.
Thank you. Anything, Monitor Vincent Secretary, okay, we'll move on to the next. Economic Development, the chair and the secretary are absent. chair is Bryce Hooks, Senator Hooks, and then the secretary is Kenny Shea. I guess we'll jump over that. The next one is education, Senator Gordon Reelberg, and then the secretary is Senator Jeannie Freakney.
Thank you, Speaker, Secretary, members of the body, guests, and part of the Bighorn County News. Let's see, lately we met with Little Bighorn College on a proposed issues about land exchange over here, wanting to do a parking lot. That was given to Land Surface. So Land Service for us, let's see, there's book and all these deals, what I'm doing. So, anyways, they're handling that. The one, Dr. Yarlett brought over a proposal to change the charter. That he wants us to change it, and one of his main concerns is money issues, and he doesn't want to have a board. Little Bighorn College wants to do away with the board, and he wants his advisors to come up with 5 names and then bring it through the legislative branch for approval for a board. And Cole Bawaja, I gave a copy to each and every one of you on his proposal, and so we have to meet on that pretty soon. And then we kind of talked about the tobacco tax, but he didn't really want to talk about that. And then, this year they're finally out of probation. They're out of that this coming year. So he's kind of worried about all the money issues that they're going through. Other than that, we're gonna start. And then another proposal for land over here across the Many Stars building to build a technical college over there. That will be coming up pretty soon. And then we decided at that time we're going to send a letter to all the board members of Little Bighorn College. Want to meet with them this month around October, somewhere around the 22nd, Kaija. Have a meeting here with the board members, because after this proposal was made, I was approached by some of the board members and asking what's happening over there. And I think that they should be involved in this because policymakers too, without their knowledge, things are happening. So, so we're going to send a letter, Legal J is going to send a letter to the chairman of the Little Bighorn College board, and then we're going to designate a time, and then we're going to go through each the proposals that Dr. Yard has submitted to us, and then talk about the land and the parking lots. So those things they're not aware of. A lot of those issues that are happening is a lot. So we're going to update them, and then from that time on, we'll invite them to each meeting that we have through the education. So Legal Page, Jeannie doesn't have any. Jeannie, do you have anything to add?
Before recognizes Senator Freakney.
No, chairs have been doing an excellent job. I was just writing down all the meeting dates, and at least we had 1 or 2 meetings every month since April, working with the Little Bighorn College board. And I think he's doing an excellent job. Trying to keep up with it.
Okay, can I go right into Katie?
Just let me ask a clarification. 22nd, October 22nd is.
We're going to send a letter in response to try to get all the board members here. I know some of them work, could be in the afternoon or morning time. As soon as we get that confirmation from them, because we'll set a meeting here with the Little Bighorn College board members. So
it's a gaming,
the gaming, October 25th. The budget director, chief of staff, Andy Huff, counselor are going to come to Crow, which is on Friday. And then Dale's going to notify us on that. So you'll probably send an email to speaker, myself, and secretary, October 25th, and that's all, that could be the finalizing the class 3, the compact, we're still going back and forth on that. And then, let's see. Well, and then on the ordinance, possibly have a meeting tomorrow, Mr. Harris, on a red line version of the ordinance to get that all done. Maybe tomorrow at 10. That's the only time. Y'all Labrador's available, so he's gonna send us an email on that. And then Nico Cage for the gaming. So those are all what's on the table right now. And these two issues, they've been it's been an uphill battle, but I think it's coming to a close here. He said that maybe before the end of this year we should have that signed, hopefully, on class 3 here, next year or next spring. We'll be pretty good, sitting good on that. So October 25th, we're gonna have a meeting here, or I don't know where they're gonna meet. But they're coming to Crow, so I think that's basically it on that. Do you have anything to add, CJ?
No, Mr. Speaker. All I wanted to state was that, just not to reiterate everything that Senator Rupert has stated, but, just to update everyone on the progress here. We did meet with, Attorney General Fox. We went to Helena, and at that time, Speaker Bozahead was with me, and we were in attendance in that meeting, and speaking to his staff, as well as the executive branch officials were in attendance. At that time, we went ahead, and that's when we gave him the information, and he was going to read through it, and basically tell us that was, he was going to read through it, and everything was pretty much a goal already. He just had to read through the whole deal, and so everything's happening as planned. He did say he was going to be here for that flag dedication. He was, and I know that Sean never got to take him to sweat, but I guess he was asking for that too, and so they're planning on that at that time. And so the one thing he did state was this, that if we needed his support concerning co-development, that he said he would represent us and he'd stand with us, and so that was good, and so that's where we're at with that. All he said, I don't think there's pretty much, I think you guys pretty much done everything. All I need to do is have my staff just run through the language and make sure that it meshes with everything else. So there'll probably really no changes, is what he basically stated. So just for the membership here, that's something that I wanted to reiterate. Thank you.
Go ahead, Senator.
One last thing, Head Start having a meeting over here in Rapid City. Since I won't be able to travel October 29th, they want to have a conference call here. So that's in conjunction with the National Indian Education, which will be held in Rapid City. Anyways, in the Head Start, I got an email from them, and conference call, all the situation, going through everything. So, Balada, October 29th, you want to attend that conference call. Skype with J-Real, please. We're looking into that. So you can have it right here, and Lorenzo will be here to turn the TV on for us. So you can pay it, so
What are the guys on your gaming and then the education? What do you get and you have for Fox? It's in the Fox. What did you get? The Attorney General there on the game amendment to the current gaming ordinance. It's the 8th amendment that has been changed on the gaming ordinance, and it's in Attorney General Tim Fox's office, and so they're looking over the language. And so, and from there, if he approves it, it already went to Governor Bullock, to Andy Huff, the governor's right-hand man, I believe the attorney is Andy Huff. And then now it went over to the Attorney General. The Attorney General, as soon as he gets his approval, then from there it goes to the Secretary of Interior for its approval also, and then we can move forward with the gaming ordinance. And so, and not only that, but Kim Fox, remember at that meeting in the conference room, Governor Bullock's office, because he's been the previous Attorney General, but he's been working well with Tim Fox. Previously, Governor Schweitzer never did work with the Attorney General in a lot of issues. He was never informed. Governor Schweitzer was usually not informing them, not communicating with them. He just used his authority as a governor to not even inform him and would do things, and then Governor Bullock, well, the attorney, Governor Bullock, usually would find out later, you are overstepping some of your authority. So it sounded like our previous administration, but he said, no, they're working pretty well together. Everything that the governor does, he informs the Attorney General, and there's a good working relationship there. So I just wanted to share that with you at that time. And it's been pretty busy. Sometimes it gets overwhelming, but this is what this job entails. It's overwhelming sometimes. But, commend you for doing a good job. And so, there were so many questions on the, proposed legislation from the Dr. Yarlett's office, and that's the timing is kind of at the wrong time. The way I look at it, being here for so long, it's always the timing. But when you want to rush something through, all the red flags go up, all the questions. But we have to go through the proper procedure of committee meetings. That's why you and I are here, to ask those tough questions and get the truth out of some people sometimes. So that's what's happening there. So good job. So from there, I'm going to move over to enrollment. And I'll get enrollment. Senator Alden is absent, so I'm just going to very briefly, I'm the secretary of the enrollment. Well, the last meeting I missed all the enrollment meetings, but they've been working on the ordinance is in draft form, but there's a lot of issues that pertains to the health and human, the blood quantum. That's an issue, but also per capita payments, finished. Then from what was that one? The Welfare Act, they always run into that. So there's a lot of issues pertaining to also enrollments. So that ordinance and the amendments that we are, it's not an amendment, but it's in draft form, trying to get it up to speed. And what was it, about 3 years ago, we really worked hard on this, and we took this ordinance as far as we could, and then all of a sudden it was dropped. And so we kind of started again, and Senator Alden has to work with the enrollment office at the executive branch, and they've been informing us on getting this enrollment done and trying to get a board in there too. Board could be evaluated so that they can make some decisions. So anyways, it's in draft form. And okay, I'll end with that. The ethics, Senator Cumberson.
Yeah, I'd like to recognize Lucky Kyle runs here, Lahat District, for real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Speaker, Secretary, Body,
And yes, manual on ethics, you have any job, anything you wanna do outside the reservation, they have their own policy, procedure, and ethics. Who allowed to go there? The policy, you have to read it carefully. I worked for the Park Service. They went through that. I worked for the Sheriff Department as a deputy. And what the news, if you read it, you follow that. We did. And ethics is very important. Anything you do, like a job, like even executive part, some people complain about it. They come up to me, they're doing this, the personnel are doing this and that. And, they're not following the ethics of the code. I don't know who's the director over there, but eventually they didn't read the ethics, the policy and procedure, and hiring, firing, conflict of interest with the contract. And that's what they were hauling about. You the man was not here to do it. You have to get a policy that we do it, follow the policy, the ethics, ethical. Anything we do has to be ethical. You could have to. Oh.
Okay, Fish, Wildlife, Parks, and Recreation, put that before recognizing.
Yeah.
Senator Coyote runs.
May 7th. Prior to that, the special session got a new Eagle, they on Eagle parts. That's how Eagles here, off reservation, here, on reservation. Executive council over here, we talked, we got into kind of a not brief, but asking. And I want you to come up with a history, and I hope I'll do it here. Marisa should. You could, no, I want to go through it, but I have to sit down and go through it, go back home and look at what we've done in the past, even way back in the 80s and 90s. I want to look through all my notes that I have. And then I'll get back to you, Mom. We asked a lot of stuff, but the way we done it was, we had it in the code, regulation law, but put that one was one paragraph about that. No equal parts order. I couldn't pay what to do. Cool as you, but it's still in there. Yeah, I put together. Senator Stewart, Blacklock, Creek, all of those two. He wrote it up more, and that's good. I like that. Off reservation hunting and fishing land. Good, that treaty is still there. 1851 and 1868, Clarence Treaty, there still. You can still hunt off reservation, unoccupied lands, like Yellowstone Park. It's run by government, it's not occupied. It's only run by government. They don't live on there. They can't live on there. I mean, you could agree with all we still have to regulate our own people before we go. Regulate our own people and let the governor, state of Montana know, and then the U.S. government. That way you can go out off reservation. You can hunt any place there. Unoccupied lands. Even some of these reserve, what you call United States Reserve lands, where you listen to that reserve as a reservation. We got a very acres here again. Oh, they must see the meeting give up. We see my cut now reserve, but it's a reservation. You're right, and yes, we do have a right as a treaty tribe to exercise our rights to do that. Culpa, by the way, why is she? Not cold, but regulation for that one. All this, once the administration changes hands, they don't want to look at it. They don't want to exercise it. They don't want to enforce it. Enforcement by Adinas, Equalizer. And, era que agora, era a escola, escola here, but I could check, always. Beach, the cafe Broadway, beach, not escola here. But I could see a DNA, my other. Yes, I will do it again. And, okay, get me more, I could see how new I do it. That's my, thank you.
Okay, Secretary of, SWPR is, Senator Monatree. You wanna report it as Senator Monatree?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think, Chairman had said it all, so. Oh,
Okay, we'll go, gaming has already been reported. Health and Human Services, Chairman is Senator Monatree of Las Vegas, and Secretary is Jeannie Pretty.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the body. More recently, if everyone recalls, we did move for the confirmation of Jacqueline Stewart. This body approved. She was sworn into office. Currently, there's a list of nominees. I believe that list was handed out for Health Board. Again, coordinating efforts with Kristen Burge, along with Jacqueline Stewart, to set up a confirmation hearing for the members of the Health Board. And I believe the Speaker is opening up the schedule this week for committee meetings. So hopefully before week 10, we'll have a confirmation hearing for those respective nominees. And maybe we can amend the agenda by next week to include the confirmation of those nominees. If not, I'm sure we can ask for a date for a special session sometime in the near future. Also, in old business, the convicted felon bill, I sent a message to executive legal, and we made a request. The committee made a request spring of this year to ask the current administration's take on the convicted felon bill with reference to children in custody matters and their take on it and their approach. And we should have word probably before week 10. I sent another message to the executive branch. If they are for it, we'll move forward. If they're not, we just need to know either way, and then we'll bring the committee together and see where the committee stands on it as well, and then we can move forward at that point. I know that there's some of your constituency that have approached you, some that are interested in the convicted felon bill, but I believe it's important that both branches are on the same page. We're heading in the same direction, and hoping we can formulate a bill that meets everybody's needs. If not, maybe we need to reformulate, take another run at the language. So that's kind of where we're at, Mr. Speaker. And I don't know if the Secretary of the Committee has anything to add at this point.
Need anything to add, Senator Pretty Payne?
No.
She's the Secretary of Secretaries. Did they know that? She's the Secretary on what? You know, all the committees. Okay, 4 recognizes, the next one, infrastructure. Senator C.J. Stewart, Secretary, is, Senator Othermans.
Mr. Speaker, Secretary, members, one thing I want to, before I get into the biggest thing that we're doing, and that's the water code, and the other new item that we have is the rest area. We had a big meeting on that, but before I get any further, I wanted to remind Reno and Lodgegrass about their two Carroll Commission individuals, and that's Larry Preweasel Sr. and Frederick Lefkamp. So you still have to have a confirmation hearing on those two individuals. If they did accept nomination, if not, then we'll have to look for new nominees.
Let me add to, Frederick Lefkamp said he needed to be contacted. He said he was willing to talk to me in Billings, ran into him, but he said he's willing to do it. He just needs to be contacted.
Okay, well, maybe the,
That's what he said. We contact.
okay, well, that's good. And we got Reno, and we need them, whoever got his information. If Larry is willing to be contacted, then we'll go ahead and we'll call another one, and then we'll go ahead and get those two on the commission. But as we speak, they're operative. They have 4, so 4 constitute as quorum. And the other thing I wanted to say is we did have talk about the water code, and Jay has been going to a lot of the meetings. A lot of the information that needs to be installed now is the legislative language, and that needs to come here. And I did talk with Vice Chairman Wilson, and he was saying he wanted to know if both the Water Department and the Infrastructure Committee was working together. And we did tell him that we are to a certain degree, but it's still a my way or the highway kind of situation that we're in right now with them. So we'll call our meetings, and then we'll start going into that. It is an item on the agenda. We will get it out on the record. It will be going into committee as old business to make sure we get all those that language taken care of. So all 6 districts will have a hand in on it. The other information I wanted to talk about was the wastewater, the wastewater authority for Crow Agency. Right now, as you can see, all this construction going on, that's action that has been executed by your diligence and your passage of legislation. And right now, with all the jobs that it's creating, we're only in 3A and finishing 3A and 3B and a portion of 4A phases, and there's 6 phases of this project that are still going to be taken care of. And so that's going on. They're trying to get as much done before winter, but as you can see, there's a lot of detours, a lot of inconvenience, but overall, it's going to be a better system. And to give you a heads up, I do sit on the co-board, and I made a motion on during our meeting to fund Lodgegrass 100% for their request, and that was $200,000. And so Lodgegrass got their first initial funds at $200,000 from the coal board, and they're going to be starting their wastewater project. So that's for them. And they're going to be starting their $3.7 million wastewater program starting this fall and possibly going into the spring. So that's going to create a lot of jobs in the Lodgegrass district. And also wanted to state that for the Crow School, the school asked for $300,000 to redo their heating system. And so at that time, during the co-board meeting on the 27th, I made a motion on the floor to fully fund the Crow School. Mr. Al Peterson came in and made the request for the Crow School, and so we're gonna be taking, the motion was passed for full fundage of $300,000, and $150,000 will come out of this year's biennium, and $150,000 will be coming out of the next year's biennium. So then that way it's a total of $300,000, and so the Crow School will be getting that money to rehabilitate and redo their heating system. And the others was, this is not really necessarily here, it's not on the reservation, but I wanted to emphasize that a lot of the kids that do stay at St. Labrie, they have to stay there because they can't travel back and forth. A lot of them, the majority of those kids are Crows that come from Crow Agency and so forth all over the reservation. And they asked for $150,000. Curtis Charlotte came before the co-board and at that time did ask for that to rehabilitate their infrastructure concerning their drinking water. And so my motion was to fully fund them, and we got, the motion was passed. And so we have $150,000 that's going to be going to that. Now the other issue that's going to be coming up in this session is the limited waiver of sovereign immunity concerning the arbor and the architectural design and engineering plans. That came before the co-board at $30,000, and I made the motion to fully fund that $30,000. It was a big fight. And there was holes in the application, and again, the important part to focus on is that the technical people had stated that they will work with the tribe to get that money, to get it passed, so then that way we will get that $30,000, but during the time when I made my motion, it was seconded, and Tom Tao did make a secondary motion under Robert's Rules of Order. If a secondary motion does go forth and gets a second and gets, when the question is called and gets passed, then that pretty much does away with the main motion. So that happened, and it just so happened my motion failed 4-3. So with that being said, and the technical people and the support that they're going to give to this item, it will get passed in the near future. But the biggest thing was this, is that at that time, Meg O'Leary, she's the director of the Montana Department of Commerce, was in attendance. I asked Meg to get up and speak to this issue and asked her several questions, and I did ask for a study to be done on how much money comes in to support the state of Montana when Crow Fair comes about. She did say she's going to get that study. She figures there was an older study done, but she's going to update that study. So basically that's money in the bank for us to show how much of a contribution the Crow tribe does during that time. And so she did have some ideas, thoughts, and she did give out her cards to the individuals there. There was AJ, George, Wilbert, and, Secretary Not Afraid, George Wilbert, and, who else was there? There was a few others that were in attendance, but those were the main ones that got up and spoke. And she did say there was tourism dollars that she was going to direct them to get the whole arbor built. And because they do feel that it would be an investment and not just a grant. So she's looking at that too. So we're going to be looking at going after those tourism dollars as well as the $30,000 architectural design to the co-board. And she's going to be giving the study to me for the, actually to the co-board as well too. And for the contribution of what Crow Tribe brings at that time. And she did have some figures off the top of her head per capita, per international tourists versus every, during state to state and then, local. So she had all those figures, and it's a pretty huge amount at that time that the tribe brings in. And so that was kind of the win that we had, although we didn't get that 30,000 passed. Overall, it was $600,000 amount passed for the co-people. So, from the co-board. So, I just wanted to bring that out, and we will be bringing the water code to the floor, but only to bring it into committee.
You gonna add anything to add, Senator, other medicines, the secretary?
Not at this time. I don't think we had any infrastructure meeting scheduled, so we'll probably do it in the future.
Okay, the floor recognizes Senator Covers up.
Yeah, Nick, see, when you go to the co-board, you have to, open up to your needs, and, I want to do for them now. They didn't quite understand what goes on with that co-board, and you have to have numbers to show them that what it's going to do for the community and the surrounding area. And you could a quick go back some, quick pizza, you all cut, and you have to make them see that it's a community service that you're doing also, but still you're generating money for the outside source. But it could take pardon, and even the native days involved for that problem. We already had our meeting on it. And it's the influx of the tourism, like a battlefield, without a big group, or still a hard need. You could just make an example of those fights. But it was kind of too late when they came around. And what I did, you have to sell yourself to the board there, and tough to do fights. And put it make CJ show okay, and could he'll support you. Could I do any ways to kind of go. What you want to do here is development for your people, and who you could show that come on you do like you could involve money, and put out you could show a lot of youth. You have to fight for what you get. What I did get for this, bring it by youth.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the report. You guys all did a good job. We'll go down to the executive branch and judicial. Go ahead before recognize Senator Stewart.
I just want to state that I missed it. I apologize, but I was going to bring this out. I do have the confirmation concurrence sheets for all the districts for the land board. So I will be handing these out to you, and we'll get those, and then we're going to be setting up a meeting with the land board and try to get a couple birds with one stone. So we have they are putting their wish list together, and when we do come to the table, we're going to be doing some amendments on that land lease ordinance.
Okay, you've got the confirmation for all the districts. Each of you. Okay, we'll move on to the executive branch and then the judicial. So they're not going to be here today, but I'm trying to schedule them for next Thursday or Friday. Next Thursday or Friday for the executive and the judicial. And then I want to go through this, and then we'll be done. The proposed legislation in the old business. We're going to need to amend old business and add the $10 million loan. We've had meetings, and I think we had a couple of meetings on it. And I've asked, but the recommendation was get the bank documents. And according to Jay, correct me, we have the bank documents. It's ready to go. It's ready to hit the floor, but we have to have a recommendation on Wednesday, so I called the revenue committee on Wednesday for the $10 million loan. $7 million is for new, economic development for the C-stores, on the Wyola, Lodge Grass, Black Lodge, Pryor, and then also to purchase the one in Bighorn. So that's a $7 million, and the $3 million will go to pay some bills again, or for the Arrow Creek Ranch. And that's what the $10 million is for. So we'll have a meeting on Wednesday at 10 a.m. to make a recommendation for next week. And then, I guess we can make an amendment at this time, Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to make an amendment to the agenda to add, the JAR $10 million loan for First Interstate Bank, secured by interest from 107 Settlement Trust Fund. You would have to go back to the rules of order, which called for it to be on the agenda, and by oversight, it was not on there, so that, therefore, I am making that motion.
Okay, need a second by Senator Stewart. Secretary Crow's, motion, question by Senator Not Afraid of Lost Grass. All those in favor of amending and adding the $10 million loan, raise your right hand. Okay, it's unanimous, it's 14-0-0. Okay. Pass 14-0-0. 15. What is that? 15-0-0. Thank you, Secretary Crow. Okay, I want to go through this business. This one is in economic development, and Bryce Suggs and Secretary Kenny Shane are not here. And this is the approval of the articles of incorporation for the Dollar Development Funds. Incorporated as a tribally chartered nonprofit corporation eligible for certification as a Native Community Development Financial Institution. Jay, I'm going to have to rely on you for this. Where does this stand right now?
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Secretary, members of the body, this proposed joint action resolution remains an old business. There has been some discussion regarding the timing with the committee chair outside of the committee context, but Chair Pugs is aware that we are pressing up against the deadline for the certification of whatever we want to establish, whether it be a state nonprofit corporation or a tribally chartered nonprofit corporation. Last I knew from the executive branch, they have been working on putting together an application package, but they need to have a chartered nonprofit corporation that is going to be the community development financial institution. So they had some concern about being an instrumentality of the Crow tribe. That is the executive branch. Their concern is regarding arm's length relationship the tribe requires the government would have with this CDFI. And we know that the U.S. Department of Treasury, which would be overseeing the CDFI, as well as providing funding for it, is requiring that it be separate from the tribal government, that it be an arm's length independent institution. So you have that mechanism for protection. I would advise the legislature to pass this as soon as possible if we can review the proposed charter and tweak it to everybody's comfort. I think it's ready for body action, but we do need to go through the articles as presented because I think there are some outstanding questions.
Okay, I want to interject here. You're giving me a long version, Jay, but what I wanted to do is we need a committee meeting to pass this. I hear you saying we need to pass this as soon as possible, but it still needs committee action, right? Okay, that's all I wanted to hear. So it needs committee. That's what I want to go through that. Okay, I'm trying to make it happy and snappy. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next one, proposed memorandum of agreement with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service regarding protection of eagles and enforcement of federal and tribal laws against illegal harvesting and trafficking of eagles and eagle parts. Senator Coyote Runs, does this need to stay in committee and review it some more?
I've been waiting for the, executive council for quite a while, but if I may, I want to make a motion to table this.
Okay, when it comes on the floor, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, we will, when we get to it, we make that motion there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Okay. Okay, that's the way, it's a lot easier, and it's a lot more, everybody's on the same page. So if we do it this way, we never really done it this way. But like I said, been in this position before, to bring consistency and continuity. It's a lot easier. It goes smoother. And so on that first one, we need committee meeting, further committee meeting. Okay, we'll go to the next one. Resolution to update the Crow Indian Reservation IRR Long Range Transportation Plan, Senator Tulayans.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Secretary, members of the body. That could have been ready, but we have to have a committee meeting to get committee approval. And I haven't heard from Angie yet. I texted her. She's going to see what's available for this week. Once we have committee action and we update it, and then there's amendments that I'll make it, then it can be ready for passage finally.
Okay, so it needs committee meeting.
Yeah, so hopefully by next week we'll get it passed.
Okay. Okay, the next one is joint action resolution entitled Resolutions Requesting Fee Trust Acquisition of Crow Tribal Fee Lands. Senator Stewart, Natural Resources.
Okay, I was looking at the wrong one. I guess I'm looking at this one. Which one was that again? The fee lands acquisition for Crow Tribal fee lands?
Yeah, trust the fee trust acquisition of Crow Tribal fee lands.
Well, what I was going to try to do is either Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm gonna schedule a natural resource committee meeting so I can get some action on these two items, as well as the one that needs to come to the floor. And I'd like to try to take care of these matters and get a direction for them. Because right now we haven't had no action. There was some rearranging, and there is some of the individuals from the land committee that have been furloughed, so we need to bring some of this back to the table and see where we want to go with it. I want to find out what pace they want to be at right now. Because right now they threw it to committee. They said if it goes to committee, that's fine. But that was then. Now we're at quarterly session, and so I'd like to find out what kind of a pace we'd like to be at, and does that buy us time? Because at the same time, they actually have the land committee actually has three huge items here that they want to work on, and depending on their timing, depending on their momentum and the need. So I need to know those. So I'm going to be calling a Natural Resources Committee meeting sometime this week.
Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, either Tuesday or Wednesday if I can. Depends on what's on the agenda. I know you have your revenue committee meeting
Wednesday at 10.
Wednesday at 10, and if we could have something maybe Tuesday, I could try to get them over here.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. And possibly more like, if we can get them at 9 o'clock, then I'd like to try to have that meeting prior to the session.
Okay.
At least just get some answers. Oh.
Okay, the next one is Treaty and Culture Committee, Senator Cursup.
Okay, thank you, you already agreed with that. Like I said, we've been kinda, off track for a while and, we haven't come to meet with this, and this Cultural Resource Protection Act is important, so we'll probably schedule a meeting this week sometime also.
Okay, schedule meeting. There's when it comes on the floor, if it does come on the floor, then we'll go with the, recommendation.
Yep.
It goes back into committee. Okay, the next one is Health and Human Services, an act to amend Title 10 of the Code, Law and Order Code to protect against non-crow and non-Indian felony convicts for receiving parental custody of crow children. Senator Knowledge, great, Marshmallows.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the body. As indicated in my report, at this time, we're going to continue to keep it in committee. I'm hoping that we'll receive an opinion from the current administration on where they're at with this piece of legislation, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, the next one is Gaming Committee, Rules and Regulations of the Pro Board of Horse Racing. Senator Bill.
That's under culture. Culture for the body, so Senator covers it.
Okay, they want a meeting this week sometime, so we'll schedule that, and they wanna, work on this, so when it comes and see what they wanna do, we'll probably go back to committee later on next week. So,
Okay, this is culture. Okay, the next one is CJ again, Act establishing the Crow Land Acquisition and Disposal Program and Ordinance. Natural Resources Committee Chair CJ Still.
Which item are we talking about? I was actually talking to one of the individuals from the land committee, Senator.
Rules and regulations. Rules and regulations of the Crow Board of Horse, no. Act establishing the Crow Land Acquisition and Disposal Program and Ordinance.
Yeah, that's coming up for tomorrow's meeting at 9 o'clock, Mr. Speaker, so I'll have a better answer for you after that meeting.
Okay, 9 o'clock meeting for this one, tomorrow. Okay, the next one, Service Land Committee, Lucille Emerson, an act to amend the Crow Land Leasing Ordinance of 2009.
Thank you, Speaker, Secretary, and body. This one here refer back to committee action, and I would like to schedule a meeting, possibly tomorrow.
Okay. Next page. New business. JARs. We're gonna, resolution amending JAR 10-01 requesting restoration by the Bureau of Indian Affairs to the prototype of certain, agency reserve tracts dedicated for use by the Olympic Point College for its health and wellness center, and this was the Education Committee, Senator Wilbur. Go ahead, the floor recognizes Secretary. We'll go first for.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What we did was, he was working on it, and then he said maybe this should go to surface land. So when we did our distribution deals, we primarily with infrastructure, since there's a lot of infrastructure involved in this, and then secretary was surface land. So it is in those two committees.
Surface land slash. Which one's the primary deal? Okay, primary on this one is, infrastructure and surface land, right? Slash surface land. Okay, floor organizer Senator Stork.
I'm gonna go in, at that tomorrow's meeting. I'm gonna have a combination of the two.
Okay.
And that way we can hear this in committee.
Okay, this is scheduled.
Because I have two items in infrastructure, and that's this one, and that's the water quote. So I'll have on committee action for you. And also the resolution approving the Crow Tribes New waiver of sovereign immunity, that's gonna be heard as new business in the committee, so we'll have a recommendation as well. And so we'll have direction for the old and these new items.
Okay, this is scheduled for tomorrow, Tuesday, October 8th at 9 a.m. Okay, Ibijera, joint action resolution approving the Crow Tribes limited waiver of sovereign immunity in the Montana Coal Board grant for a preliminary architectural report of the Crow Tribal Harbor. That was manual, right, Senator Koza?
Well, we got to meet on this and probably this week, maybe look at Thursday and get all these committees in here and talk about this and get it to where it's going.
Okay, the tentative meeting would be Thursday the 10th.
Yep. If it's open 10 a.m.
There's a personnel action, I got personnel that goes to what?
So, 1 o'clock. Tentative scheduled. So we get culture there, huh?
Yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I got a 10 o'clock personnel.
Oh, okay, you can have it outside.
1 day.
1 o'clock, everybody.
Yeah.
1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, finish, bomb.
Okay, so. Okay, at 1. You're not, gaming, kaya, what was that one? You mentioned that.
Tuesday, tomorrow at 10. Tomorrow at 10.
That will be the ordinance, gaming ordinance, yeah.
Okay.
Behind me, but Chuck said they wanna have a meeting at 10 tomorrow if possible.
Okay, there's a 9 o'clock meeting tomorrow, and then there's a 10 o'clock meeting. If, Hidalgo and probably use the speaker's office, one of them will be in here.
Only reason is because Bell Avenue is only time available is tomorrow.
Alright. Okay, gaming ordinance, because we're just, okay.
Behind you, in the club.
Okay, gaming ordinance today would be scheduled at 10. So one of the infrastructure meeting will be at 9. With them speakers office, you know how much. So, got that, CJ? Tomorrow? You know, your 9 a.m. meeting, you know, would be either here, because, gaming would be at 10 o'clock.
If I can have it in the back.
Okay, alright. And then 10 a.m. here. We actually watched that, important group. So, okay, the next one is bills. This is the Crow Tribal Water Code, and I believe I can say this safely, CJ. They wanna have a committee meeting. You wanna have a committee meeting on the Crow Tribal Water Code from what, they just wanna introduce it and keep it in committee is what, the plan is on this one.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and, speaker if I may. At 9 o'clock tomorrow, I'll be having it in here. I don't believe that these guys even have anything on the floor or even old business, right?
For the game?
Yeah.
They don't have anything? Okay, so, speakers always here, like, guys,
Cause we can wrap that up. I don't think it's gonna take too long. I think we're in agreement with the land board, or the land office. They know what's gonna happen. Probably just be an hour.
Okay, Jackie will do the calendar and get everybody's, schedule on there for this week. And get a copy. So, there's no proposed legislation for gaming, but we will still have a meeting at 9, bit of clarification. But the meeting is important as well too, so we will get that done. And then the proposed legislation by Senator Swart will take place at 9 a.m. here. It's about, 3 or 4? Then, I'm going to recognize Senator Tulegans.
Host Speaker, we decided we'll have a transportation at 11 on Thursday. Jeannie's gonna do her personnel at 9 for, real quick, for about
When?
an hour or two. Thursday.
Oh, not tomorrow, also today. I'm getting kind of confused here.
Okay.
Okay, Jackie will get all this coordinated.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's it.
okay.
Next time, right?
We'll recognize Senator Tosley.
Yeah, you can. First, get through that, committee meeting, 1 o'clock by the, so we'll probably kind of go with the, race horse, put on you up when you are. We'll probably reach with those two, the board, training board, and then Arbor.
Okay, Raging Board and Arbor.
Yeah.
Okay, Jackie, I guess, when you're done with that, we'll get all on the same page so we don't get all confused.
Okay.
And Manuel wants Arbor, the proposed legislation on Arbor, and then horse racing board could have, also have a committee meeting both at the same time. So that'll be on Thursday at 1. Oh yeah, that's another thing too. I got working lunch, cold cuts. Radio cold cuts. Oh yeah, he uses cold cuts. Give me your name, man. You can understand most of that. You also know you put this Go ahead, Senator Knox.
Just as a side note, has nothing to do with committee work, but, I'm running for, Chief Judge of the Crow Nation Judicial Branch. My team would love to meet with the senators during session sometime, if, all of you have room. My running mate is current Associate Judge running for re-election, Sheila Not Afraid. I happen to know her real well, Mr. Speaker. And our team member, Carrie Covers Up, who's running for the second associate judge position as well. And, I just wanted to forward that request to you, Mr. Speaker. They would love to announce their resume and their platform and questions from the respected elected members of this branch.
Okay, I think we had a, on that, I think we passed something, is that just for the tribal employees? Remember they can't, campaign on a day? I don't know if that applies, Jay. Remember we had something like that? We had a rule someplace that they can't campaign during the day. Go ahead, legal judge.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, the prohibition you're referring to is contained in the election ordinance, and it applies specifically to tribal employees, which of course Senator Malloy is not. There is language, however, in the same paragraph, which does provide that it's an lawful misdemeanor crime to use tribal funds for the purpose of campaigning. I would have to look at the situation a bit closer, but I think it would be simply a recognition that Senator Malloy, for however long he wanted to address the body, would not be doing so in his capacity as elected representative of Watercrest, but would be doing so in his capacity as a member of the General Council running for the Chief Judge position. And I think if the body just took notice of that, there wouldn't be any issue with regard to the election ordinance. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So, it wouldn't be a problem then, is what you're saying? Okay. We always have to look at the legal issues all the time, so. Okay, I think we're all on the same page on the schedule this week. Okay, Secretary Oko.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And, catering, other guys with next week, the Manucci that looked at, it's haven't coordinated with, Bill, and then that way, on their 1099s and such. So, put it to come in, hope.
Okay, other guy, the CJ has that one election, confirmation on the land board, right? Okay. Is there anything that you want to add? Do we have any LRs at this time? For the session? Okay. Any confirmations would be, we'll write that note. Okay, the personnel policy, Mike, or the personnel policy. If it's ready for the floor, that's Jeannie's committee. It'll come on the floor during the October session for the LR, for passage. The LR they get. Come on, it's a lot easier. Everybody has a schedule. Campaign or so we'll start tomorrow at 9 a.m. for infrastructure / natural resources committee meeting at 9 and 10. Gaming and the speaker's office at 10 with Dale Ladler. And Dale has been doing a pretty good job. He had good reports as well too. Pretty busy person. Hard to catch up with him, but he's doing a pretty good job. We have the executive branch, and so are the other attorneys. They're all pretty overwhelmed. Talked to some of them personally, and they told me about some of the legislation and jobs that they are pretty overwhelmed. Just like ours, Legal J. Oh, by the way, for everybody's information, that was part of the report that I overlooked, Jay. Sorry that I overlooked you, Jay, but it was the speaker's call because he asked me if he wanted to teach on Wednesdays at the Little Bighorn College from 6 to 9 on the land use bill, right? Yeah, and so he's teaching there every Tuesdays. He asked me, but I didn't really give him an answer for about a couple of weeks, and he was about ready to cry, and finally I said yes. He was pouting, actually. He wouldn't shake his hand, he wouldn't ask for his tomatoes, and he wouldn't give me any tomatoes until I said yes, and finally he gave me some tomatoes, but I asked for some of the... Anyways, so he's teaching over there. Well, how many students do you have, by the way?
About 6, 7.
Okay, about 6 or 7, and all the senators are invited. If you ever have time, come over. He said he's going to make sure that when you leave, you're going to be smarter than you came. Yeah. Okay, with that, we're going to recess until Monday at 10 a.m. Recess until Monday at 10 a.m. because tomorrow to Friday we're having committee meetings. All right. Oh.
It's still going to be a busy week.
They're nice, if the bases are heavier, you come back. Yeah, as long as you don't hit them. Yeah, if they're a little bit heavier. Hold up, we'll take a step. We'll take a step. She wants it. Yeah, just like hold it. All right, that's what.
Get your tomatoes for the snow.
What do you think? Yeah, this all this opiates.
He's good. Planning the public community.
Yeah, we have the attorney.
National Congress.
Even though we're not in session, you have to work. Business, so.
Two sentences of the guys that.
No, yeah.
No, technically, like you said, I'd like to make a motion to table this. We were in business, and the motion was supposed to be filed on its own merits. So, the speaker says, no, I don't want to entertain that motion. But the speaker can't do that. Do we have motion? Yeah, so it'd be a second.
A motion can't be
Oh, it can't be.
denied.
Right.
Motion's made.
Remember on,
Unless it's non-germane, that was totally germane.
yeah, he wanted to table it, he made a motion to table it.
Yeah, he said-
There's no,
Second, so it's dead.
Oh, yeah, it would have died, the speaker should go have a second. See, that's how it should have died, on its own merits. But if someone was in second, and if the other person questioned, the body's why to take action. And,
So that's that.
oh, it's just,
his motion is.
So,
technically the speaker can't stop what the senator can, because otherwise the speaker just control the body and actually just never allow the Let's see what Duke was wanting to do is to go to every, just to get an update where we're at.
Yeah.
And then address it next week. And that's fine, but it's in the body, it's up to the body though. And.
all the meetings?
Yes, but I didn't put like, what the meeting about, it's too much.
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
For a small calendar.
We're still up, right?
Okay.
Oh, I think there's 1 o'clock tomorrow too. Surface lines.
No, he said they're putting it all together.
Oh, they're putting all that together.
Yeah, we're messing up.
All right. Oh,
Good change. Yeah. Contact get back to you.
Chuck should be one.
His camera was.
So, big, one, champagne is complete. I'm working on it, not doing
There's 2 things to look at. First would be the ordinance, second would be our personnel policy. I think the personnel policy says leave without pay. Pretty sure I'll double check on that. But then the election ordinance, I think it says no campaign during. You sure if it's working hours or if it's business hours? If it says business hours, that's the meeting. It's like 8 to 5. If it says, working hours, that would be easier because if you're here, say like leave without pay, then you'd be alright.
Session market. Where does session market?
Employees of the tribe who become candidates for tribal office shall be permitted to continue with their jobs. However, they shall be prohibited from campaigning during working hours. Employees of the tribe who like to campaign without pay must take leave without pay. Oh yeah, that's that you're saying.
Okay.
Leave without pay, yeah.
Good, that's good.
Oh, number 2.
Marble Chuck's, new driver.
Alright.
Patrick, Kenny.
Kenny, we called the hotel, put you in there, and put the excuse for Pat, no phones, calls,
No phone, if I could, if I let
Mm. Because I have to get with, they showed us.
Okay. Yeah.
Alright.
The next sentence says, this doesn't apply to your situation, but it says no candidate for elected office may use any tribal vehicle, materials, equipment, or other resources, nor incur any expenses of any kind to the tribe for the advancement of their campaign or the campaign of others. Would it be viewed as using tribal equipment for, even though he's taking off his senator hat and putting on his tribal member / candidate hat, addressing the body, but he's using like, he's here at the building, he's using our microphone and all that, is that, that would be considered use of equipment for the advancement of the campaign? Although maybe it would be, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Man,
Patrick. Oh, man.
that's a pretty harsh rule if it's interpreted that way. When we think about like what Cedric and past chairman have done.
Yeah.
Having AML crews put up
And then, yeah, transportation.
Oh man.
Oh, yeah.
No, they're.
Alright.
In a very technical sense, the college, everything over the college is tribal, nonprofit tribal corporation. And they've hosted debates. And technically, that's candidates that have. Well, heck, even at the multi, they've had debates there at the multi. Cedric debated Leroy. That's on YouTube. You can still watch it today at the multi. And the multi is even available, isn't it, for candidates? Can you have a campaign for the multi?
Yeah.
In the district halls. So I think that rule has to be there in a way that like applies to that situation. Like you take something that belongs to the tribe and like you take it and
Yeah.
why I describe it like you're out campaigning for like we're at Branch Vehicles, for example. Took the Branch Vehicles and door to door. You know, that'd be an example of that. Obviously clarify it though. Yeah, change that law so that we know clearly when it is and when it isn't. Quote unquote use of tribal equipment materials.
Good point. There's a reason we talk. Ready.
My sister is Hunter, let's go up with her. They got help over there.
You got help?
It's hard.
That's right, they kissed him over there.
Probably.
Yeah, huh?
Probably. Hard. That's where we got it.
Tell him that's hard. Crow out, crow out. We call BBB area and host rate control line, what do you call that area? Davis Creek.
Either way,
Migration area.
pretty good for. Over on the Northern China Reservation. East Park Crow. East Park Crow. So he's enrolled over there. And we're talking about this weekend. That's good. I know where they always go is that reindeer burning divide. I know they always mess around down there and up there. Pretty nice up there. Me? Oh, the antelope hunter? Yeah. Oh, shucks. Yeah, that's I don't have enough time to get some myself. Let alone guiding somebody trying to get theirs. Although, it'd be kind of fun if you kind of got into it.
Yeah, it would be.
You weren't really doing anything else. Set up a nice camp and everything, and tell some stories about the campfire. Yeah. I probably just want to take them out and get the buffaloes out real easy, you know? But, they probably find it. If they go to fishing game, I'm sure they're going to list all the guys they hired. Yeah, I was going to try to get out this weekend and check some spots out there so you can hardly get around. Oh, man. You know, I'm standing on Saturday morning. Still pretty wet? Wetty? Oh, yeah, over there at fire. James. Yeah. Oh, that heavy wet snow. How long was the power out? All evening.
You have to have a nice home. You have to have one.
I don't know how long it was up. But luckily, one yeah. Shoveled out. Is it starting to melt away though? Yeah, it's mostly gone. I mean, yeah, I see pictures from Duke's yard. Holy cow. I think prior and then up above Wilder too, I think we heard those where it's possible. They're trying to scoop right there, but their postmates keep coming up there. That's the best of your kid.
Yeah.